Has anyone ever told you not to do something and that just made you want to do it more? For these three girls, their curiosity would lead to something terrifying. These girls went to high school together, and one night they decided to have a sleepover. They were also fans of horror movies, so they thought it would be nice to rent one out and watch it. They eventually found a video rental store on the street corner and went inside. They would soon regret this decision. They asked a woman behind the counter if she had any suggestions for horror movies that they could watch. The woman said she had the perfect movie for them and went into the back room. Then one of the girls noticed that an old and rusted videotape was lying on the counter. She picked it up and was instantly curious, but things got intense when the woman came back. She slammed her hands down on the old videotape and pulled it away. She said, "That's not something you should be watching." The woman wouldn't say anything else, only that it was a home movie. Then she handed them a regular horror movie. The girls agreed to rent that one out instead, but one of the girls was still too curious. She wanted to know what was in that old tape, so when the woman wasn't looking, she put it in her purse and left with it. When the girls came home, they decided to watch the old tape together, but what they saw on there would both shock and terrify them. Follow for part 2. Have you ever felt like you've forgotten something but can't remember exactly what you forgot? Well, for this one woman, this feeling would lead to a terrifying discovery. She was on the bus on her way home from work one night when she was certain she left something behind in the office. She thought to herself, maybe it's nothing. She had a long day and she just wanted to go home for the night. But of course, she could have never expected the horrifying truth. This feeling of not being able to remember what she forgot became more and more intense. She thought about everything that happened that day. Her boss staring at her creepily, the secretaries gossiping. Then she bumped into a man on the bus. She quickly said sorry, but he ignored her. As the bus came to her stop, she stood outside her home and couldn't shake the feeling anymore. She had to go back to the office to find out exactly what she forgot. It was very late at night at this point, but she made it back. She ran up the stairs and opened the office door, but what she saw could only be described as unimaginable. As this woman slowly knelt down on the floor, she finally realized what she left behind. It was her body lying on the floor, strangled to death. This is why when something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Once a newly married couple was searching for houses they could buy, and they came across a beautiful house with a suspiciously cheap price. They couldn't see anything wrong with the house, so they just thought they got lucky. They moved in quickly. But one day the husband was walking down the hallway when he found a red crayon on the floor. He thought maybe the previous residents had left it behind, so he just threw it out. The next day he found another red crayon lying in the exact same place. This time he asked his wife about it. His wife looked shocked. She confessed that every day since they've moved in, she's been finding red crayons in the hallway too. Then the husband tried to tap on the wall at the end of the hallway and heard a hollow sound. He began peeling off the wallpaper and found a sliding door behind it. It was as if someone had tried everything they could to keep anyone from finding this door. He tried to open it, but the door was nailed shut. Then he took a hammer and pried off the nails one by one. He opened the door to find a small room with words scribbled in red crayon all over the walls. It said, "Mommy, I'm sorry, let me out," over and over. Do you know someone who wants to be around you all the time? For one newly married couple, this quickly turned into something more terrifying. So this couple got married and moved into their new house together. Soon the husband noticed that his wife became more attached to him than usual, as in she wouldn't be able to spend one moment away from him. She said, "When you're not at home, I still feel you near me. I hear you calling my name." He just thought that she was being sweet, but the truth is not so simple. One day after he got back from work, his wife said, "I think there's something wrong with me. You walked from the kitchen to the bedroom and was staring out the window all day." But the husband knew that he was at work all day. Over the next few days, she started acting even weirder, until one night she was next to her husband and said, "You're not here. You're there. You're in the kitchen." Then they both heard a noise. The husband walked into the kitchen to investigate, and he saw himself standing there with a blank, lifeless expression on his face. This man, or whoever it was, walked out of the kitchen and disappeared into the hallway. And as the husband went back into his bedroom to get his wife, he heard someone's voice coming from behind him. It was his wife's voice, only it wasn't, and it whispered into his ear, "We are here to stay forever."